Righty-ho, the 3:15 is the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, Group 1, over a mile, and another really high-class field on a superb day. And good old Ribchester, he's the jolly again, isn't he, Frank?
Yeah, he's 15-8. Churchill's 130. Beat the Bank 9-2. Albacare 6-1. Thundersnow 16-1, and we're 20-1 bar.
What do you reckon, James Hill?
Well, Ribchester's a solid favourite. I mean, very difficult to not him. I don't think he's necessarily too short or anything. But my concern with him is a draw. I mean, he's stuck out wide. I think it's draw 13, isn't it? I think, with that wind coming from the southwest, I think it's going to be difficult for horses out there.
Oh, is it? Well, they'll bear the brunt of it, will they?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. Well, the horses on the far rail will get cover.
Which direction are they running in? They're running west, aren't they, Ascot, are they?
Yes,
yeah. So the wind will be coming into them, yeah.
But then won't the grandstand shield it a bit?
Yeah, but the grandstand's a furlong and a half out. I mean, there's still a lot of time for the wind to take effect. I mean, and look, I wouldn't put anyone off Ribchester in terms of form. I think he's going to run a big race, but he may well need from that draw to run a personal best, his best ever race. I'm going to give Churchill one final chance. I'm going to forgive him his last run. I think it might have come a bit too soon after a hard race at York. Those races were quite close together this year. It worked last year with the winner dropping back from 1.25 miles to 1 mile for Aidan O'Brien. So the stable have done it before, and Churchill's very well drawn in one, so I'm going to go for him.
Keels, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I get James's point, but then about the draw and that. But the one I like is Beat the Bank, who's next door in stall 12. I will be worried. Ribchester can race keenly, and if he goes from the front or near the front, that he's been doing most of this season, again he's going to be in the teeth of the wind, and I want something with a bit of cover. But I just think Beat the Bank is the coming force, isn't he? He's won 5 of his 6 starts. His only defeat, he'd come at Ascot, but that was on good to firm ground at 7 furlong Jersey Stakes when he scoped badly afterwards. And otherwise, he's just been super progressive. He smashed up his rivals in listed Group 3 and Group 2 company on his last 3 starts by an aggregate of 11 lengths. Just absolutely bolted up at Newmarket last time. He loves soft ground. He looks like he's a really, really strong stayer at a mile. And to be honest, I'll be disappointed if he's beaten.
Do you think the market's caught up with him, Keels? Or
no, I think there's enough juice in there. I think he's still potentially better than he's shown, and what he's shown is almost good enough to win this anyway. He's not, he's nowhere near as far off as the official handicap, who has him £7 behind. I think Ribchester. I don't believe that for a minute. I think he's going to be right up there with them, and he really puts his head down and he gallops all the way to the line. And you're going to need a tough horse here, and he strikes me as a tough horse.
Frank, where's your money going?
Yeah, I think I might be with James here and give Churchill one more go. Like on the face of it, he's been disappointed in the second half of the season, but like you can put a line through the Irish Champions Stakes. He didn't get much of a run there, and his run at Dublin International was like second behind Ulysses, who's like probably the second best middle distance horse in Europe after Enable. So I think he's class enough. Like Ribchester, he's probably underrated. Like his form is tremendously consistent, without being probably a superstar.
Who's that?
Ribchester.
He is underrated, isn't he?
He is underrated. Yeah. Like as in, like we were just talking this morning. Like he's probably not like going to be remembered as a superstar, but at the same time, he very rarely dips below kind of 120. He kind of runs that 120 level, maybe 122 all the time.
If he was trained 150 miles further south or west, I think he'd have a lot bigger reputation. He'd get the credit he deserves.
Oh, almost certainly. Like in his record at Ascot, like he's he obviously absolutely hacked up in the Jersey Stakes. He was second, only beaten half a length or less by Minding, who was top quality last year, and he's won well in the Queen Anne this year. So he handles soft ground. There's an awful lot to like about him, but at the same time, I was looking only. In the past, I think 11 years, only 3 horses older than 3 had won this, and they were was it Celebration?
Come on, James. You're a historian.
Well. Yeah, no, I think a Celebration is right. Yeah.
Celebration, yep. Solo was the other one, and Ramonti back in 2007. And to be fair, they were all top quality, and like it's 3-year-olds dominate this race. Other than that, even though they probably have a large representation. It's probably still overachieving for the number of runners in the race, and for that reason, I'm going to forgive Churchill the run in the Irish Champion Stakes, and I'm probably going to back him.
Okay, I think I might have got my geography slightly wrong. I think 150 miles west of Richard Farr is probably the Isle of Man, and that's not really a hotbed for trainers.